Hello, Internet, and welcome to episode 201 of Verbal Graffiti with your host, Brian Glass, a.k.a. the B-Man, the People's Degenerate. Just took a poop. I could feel the burning sensation between my butt crack, the butthole. I feel the burning sensation post-poop. Are we starting this episode off? 201, that is, close to 300, with poopy talk? Yes, we are. My show. We'll do whatever I want to talk about. But it's not so much the poop I want to talk about. It's my hands. See, it's 25 degrees here, not being hyperbolical, if that's the correct term. All right? I'm not exaggerating. It really is 25 degrees and dry. That dry coldness, what I'm getting at here is my hands are very dry. And I had washed my hands prior to knowing I had to poop. And my poops these days vacillate between the poops that should be reserved for royalty, monarchy, and the poop that is diarrhea. And what I mean is, I have poops that are 12 to 18 inches long, one piece, come out smoothly. You look at that, you go, that's a Genghis Khan poopy. That's a Napoleon poopy. That's a George Washington-esque piece of crap. But then I also have diarrhea, where I blow the toilet up, and there's no in between. And this poop I just took, you could probably guess by the burning sensation that I just mentioned I have. You know, on the crevice of my butt crack, my butthole that is, was diarrhea. But before I went, did I mention that again? So I washed my hands prior to knowing, because the diarrhea came on quickly. Like I washed my hands, came down here to the studio to get this episode going, and I felt it. No, I got to go take care of that. So I went to the bathroom, took care of the diarrhea, got it all out. But then it hit me. It's like, it's 25 degrees out. I had just washed my hands maybe 10 minutes, maybe less than that. So my hands are dry. And they're crackly and they're crusty. And if I wash my hands again, that's going to wreck the skin that covers these feminine, skinny fingers of mine. So I didn't wash my hands. Are you going to criticize me for that? Maybe you should. But you should also know that this microphone that I've been using for 201 episodes now, I haven't washed it once. I'm not a germaphobe. I know I normally wash my hands after diarrhea. I'd estimate that when I get diarrhea, I wash my hands 80% of the time right after I take the diarrhea. Does that disgust you? I don't know what to tell you. The B-Man's honest. I'm a straight shooter here. But I normally wash my hands, but for the health of my hands, I did not wash my hands post-diarrhea. I'll probably wash them before I go to bed tonight. All right, enough with that. I have noticed recently, we're done with the poopy talk. Moving forward, I have noticed recently, last couple weeks that is, that I am not as enamored with the babes as I once was. Maybe it's because I'm becoming an elder statesman. Maybe it's just the more experience you have with something, the less magical it becomes, right? You see someone juggle. Wow, he's juggling 3 balls. You see him do it 50 times in a row. That's a stupid analogy. I'm so terrible with analogies. All I'm getting at is I find myself, I'm just not as impressed with the opposite sex as I once was. 25-year-old B-Man, all you had to do was smile, have white teeth, and I would have bent the knee to you like Jon Snow. That's a great analogy. Great. I was Jon Snow for every babe out there. No longer. Let me tell you something. Earlier today, when I should have been working, I was watching this YouTuber a hot babe, don't know her name, and I'm not really calling her out per se, although I'm about to call her out, so maybe I am, but I'm not trying to do this in a mean-spirited way. When I say I'm not enamored with babes, I do so in a non-hate, like I don't hate the babes, I'm just, all right, so this YouTuber, I'm guessing she's 23, 24 years old, comes from a well-to-do family. I think this is what she does with life. She's a YouTuber, and unlike me, she makes a lot of money doing so because she's a hot babe. Now, I would describe her brunette. Her hair is well done, but you can tell she takes care of her hair a little too much. What I mean by that is just her facial features. She looked like a very well put together, attractive 35-year-old babe. Problem is, she's 23, 24 years old. So as a 41-year-old, I go, wow, she's really attractive because she looks like a 35-year-old, but she's actually 23 or 24. And she spent a lot of the episode being critical of her own body. So I'm not going to go any further because I don't want anyone to have body dysmorphia. That's not what we do here at Verbal Graffiti. We are lovers, although we are not enamored anymore with the opposite sex. But she's talking, right? And she, at one point in the interview, and the reason why I'm doing it is because I'm just pulling like little clips of what she says to use for my reels, for shits and giggles, to make you laugh, to make myself laugh. That within my reels, you know. Anyway, she's talking about how like she's an artist. How she, like God put her on this earth to be a YouTuber. I was taken aback by that statement. They go right there. I'm not enamored with her. Like she's actually considering what she does, which is talking about herself on YouTube as art. Now, hey, who am I to be critical of another YouTuber? And saying that's art, but I'm doing it. So you want to criticize me for that? Go ahead. Look at my backdrop. You really think I fucking care what you say about me? I do. But I'm going to pretend like I don't. But anyway, she's going, I'm God-given. I was put here to be a YouTuber and as an artist. And she mentioned somehow some other artist had said that to be an artist, you have to live life. All right, we've heard that before. Even if you're not an artist, well, you know, to create your art, you have to live life. Therefore, you have something to look back on to pull that art from. But the problem I had was not the statement, which we've all heard that before, was that she's living life. Then she goes directly from making that statement about having to live life so that you can create your art. So in her mind, her creating life or living her life meant she talked about going to New York City for Christmas, for a long weekend, and getting drunk with her girlfriends and going out to clubs and rooftop bars and making out with guys and drinking espresso martinis. And I'm here. The curmudgeon that the B-man is, being very critical of her. Because the statement, whoever the artist who came up with that statement, you gotta live life to be able to create art, I don't think he meant or she meant that, go get drunk at a club in New York City or LA or Miami. I'm pretty sure they meant actually do something that challenge yourself. Do something that expand your mind. To become a more well-rounded person. You know, they go travel, go sail across the Atlantic Ocean, go hike the Appalachian Mountains, go live in Section 8 housing for 6 months. You know, go on a 10-day fast, don't eat, change religions, read the Bible. Do something profound with your life. Like, I know, actually, that this YouTuber that I'm talking about, she manipulated that statement. You got to live life so you can create art. So she manipulated that statement to justify going out and getting drunk with her girlfriends in a fun city. That irritated me. Now, I came away from that or her podcast, YouTube show, not impressed with her at all. Super hot, B-man. Would you fuck her? Yes, I would. And I'd tell you about it if I ever did. Do I think she's attractive? Yes, I do. Do I think she has a great personality? I do. She is charming. She talks a little too quickly for my liking, but most babes these days do. So, but I'm not impressed with her. I'm not enamored with her. I look at her and I think about her, and I'm glad I'm not her. I'm critical of her. I don't hate her. I wish I remembered who her name was, but I'm thankful that I'm not her. But I know, but women that are her type, and there's too many of them today. Another example. Recently, I was at the Elbow Room, West Hartford. There were two couples there. This was the night before New Year, so they were partying it up. They were drinking, having a good time, conversing. And I was talking with some of the comics, and I was kind of trying to eavesdrop on their conversation while also talking to the comics. But then there were four of them, two babes, two guys. They were Chads, all young, early 20s, and they had. Each of them got two shots, and I go to one of the comments. I go, wow, they're really getting after. They're going to do two shots back to back, belly to belly, as John Sterling used to say. But then one of the comments corrected me and goes, no, they're actually just going to do a pickleback shot. So it was one of whiskey and a shot glass of, pickle juice. And then I'm like, all right, that makes sense. But then right before they went to take the shot, one of the babes stopped the entire group and go, wait. I got to take a photo of this. And she stopped all four of them from taking a shot so that she could take a photo, bird's eye view, of whiskey. And that, to me, it's just little things like that make me, it chips away at the magic that is female, and that aura that the babes have. Little things like that. See, it wasn't even just a shot of whiskey she was taking a picture of. It wasn't even shot glasses. This was a college bar, so there were the little those plastic shot glasses. Like, heaven forbid you can't drink from a straw. But we'll give everybody in the bar a plastic shot glass that we're going to throw out at the end of the night. Ask me, what's worse for the environment? 500 plastic shot glasses or some plastic straws? I don't know. I do know, but that's not the point. All I'm saying is, if you're going to take a photo of you and your friends couples taking shots, it best be a shot glass, right? Photos should be reserved for a real glass. B-man. If you're drinking from a plastic cup, or especially a plastic shot glass, no photos should be taken. That, honestly, now, I'm not a shot taking guy, but I promise you, from now on, if I ever get given a shot in a plastic glass at a restaurant, or a plastic shot glass, I'm going to go, hey, I'm an adult. Give me a real shot glass. If I'm paying $13 for this shot of Maker's Mark or tequila, I want it in a real shot glass. Don't give me that Fisher Price plastic shot glass and then charge me $13 for that. B-man, I want a real shot glass, as should you. But it's just the little things. Like this podcaster, YouTuber telling me, oh yeah, like I gotta live to create my art, so I'm gonna go drink in New York City. And that's me living and trying to parlay that into real art. And then this babe stopping her girlfriends and their boyfriends to take a photo of the plastic shot glasses. Like little things like that. And I go, you ain't impressed me. You don't impress me. Not that any of them are trying to impress the B-man. But in my own head, I'm judging them. And I go, fuck you. Fuck you, you stupid bitch. I do find myself saying that silently more often than I ever did before. It's like, fuck you, you stupid bitch. You normie, you NPC, you cheese doodle. You ain't nothing. Your shit ain't nothing to be special about. It ain't the royalty shit like the B-man takes. Where am I going with this? Where do I just hate? Oh, we'll get to it in the second segment. There's another thing that the babes are doing, especially the ones with children, that I've picked up on. We'll talk about that after after 15 minutes of woman hating here at Verbal Graffiti. All right, moving forward. This comes from the subreddit Howard Stern. All right, well, before I find myself, the thing that's impressing me more about people isn't who they are or what they do or their accomplishments. It's, do you listen? You ever have a conversation with somebody and you could actually pick up, wow, this person is actually listening to me. Those are the individuals that I find impressive. All right, this comes from the subreddit Howard Stern. COVID ruined the show, and I'm a very good fake listener. All right. I know that this isn't breaking news to anyone, but goddamn, it's really hitting me today. I was watching some old clips of the show from 2018 and 19, and while it definitely wasn't peak golden era Stern, it at least felt like everyone gave a shit. There was an energy and life to the show that just isn't there anymore. There was funny stuff occasionally. Once Howard started doing the show from the bunker, all life got snuffed out. I hope he doesn't renew his contract so he can finally put the show out of its misery, because Christ, it's sad how far he has fallen. I agree. I agree with your sentiment. Howard Stern has fallen. I'm pretty confident he will renew his contract because he gets paid, what, $50, $100 million a year? Why would you not renew your contract? Anyways, when it comes to Howard Stern, I'll hand up admit I've never listened to Howard Stern's radio show, so I really can't speak to the show post-COVID and what was the golden era and what's become of it. My history with Howard Stern goes back to Channel E in the late 1990s. He had his radio show simulcast on Channel E at 11 p.m. every weekend night. Every Friday, Saturday night on Channel E, there were episodes of the Howard Stern Show, which was his radio show, from 11 to 11:30 and 11:30 to midnight. And this was, I was in middle school at the time. So 6th, 7th, 8th grade. And what I would do is I would wait all day, all evening to get to 11 p.m. and hopefully everybody in my family would be asleep and I'd have it on in my room or in the living room. I put it real low and I would always hope that he had a stripper or a Playboy model or just some hot babe in a bikini that he would get to undress and he would tickle their feet or play some silly game with them. And again, this is TV, 1990s. So even if they got naked, they would pixelate and blur out the private parts, but that still was enough for me to hawk my dick loogie to. And I looked forward to that all week. Like I would save up my semen for that like, Friday, Saturday night, so I could jerk off in the living room. Like, this is what I would do. Literally, we'd have one TV in the living room, and all the lights would be out, and I listened to it real low, and there was a hot bikini babe, Playboy model. I would wank off and be like looking up the hallway or the front door, hoping no one would, like my older brothers or sisters would come home. So, because I didn't want to get caught, winking myself, Mr. Perfect, to the Howard Stern show. Even today, Howard Stern's voice kind of gives me a semi-hard because I winked it so many times to a naked babe Howard Stern had on his show while Howard was talking. So his voice kind of triggers something, whatever. But that was my experience with Howard Stern. To me, that was the golden era of the Howard Stern show. Make of that what you will. But it's just, and I would get so disappointed when you would have an actor or a musician on, because when you're waiting all afternoon, especially when you're, 13, 14 years old, and you just got to get that devil's juice out of you. But Howard Stern's coming on, and he's probably going to have a model. He's probably going to have a Playboy babe on who's going to be hot and take her clothes off. So you're looking forward to that all Friday night. You get pizza, you watch a movie, TGIF Friday, then Howard Stern comes on, and then he has somebody from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And you're like, fuck. There's going to be no nudity, no hot babes in bikinis. And you're all revved up to wink your dick to. And then he has a normal actor or an actress that doesn't get naked. And you're like, God damn it. I should have just jerked off 4 hours ago. But usually, one of the 2 episodes, there would be some tickling or shenanigans going on with the babe. And I would be on my knees right next to the TV, wanking it. And you had to do it very quickly because there's commercial breaks in the 1990s, Channel E. But if you know, a lot of the commercial breaks during the Howard Stern show on Channel E were just infomercials for Girls Gone Wild. So sometimes, if there was no hot babes on the Howard Stern show, I would wink off to the Girls Gone Wild infomercials during the commercial breaks of the Howard Stern show. So like that, to me, that was the golden era of Howard Stern. But he's not unique in that he's just not funny anymore. That's not unique to Howard Stern. Really, any comedian, any late night show, and any musician, they have their peak, and then there's nothing unique about them. They just do the same thing over and over. Like when I was younger, almost every older comic would say David Letterman was the best late night host. He was funnier than Conan. He was funnier than Leno. Like, he was the guy who everyone wanted to go on. You wanted to go on Letterman. That was the show you wanted to get on. If you were cool, if you were popular, if you were in the know, Letterman was a late night host you watched. But honestly, since I was a teenager, David Letterman wasn't funny. Let's say post 2000, Letterman, hardly anything he did made me laugh. Like, how many times are you going to get on late night TV and do a top 10 list? You're really going to do that like 25 years in a row? Hey, David Letterman, come up with a new bit. All right. Says the B-Man, who's done 200 episodes of almost the same shit over and over again. But it's like, all these guys, they come up with a bit and then they just beat it to death. It's a moneymaker and they just do it over and over and it becomes hack. Like, David Letterman was not funny post 2000. He's very similar to Howard Stern in that, it's just, you're funny and everyone laughs, but after a while, like the babes, your aura goes away. Like, your magic, it dissipates. We see what you really are. Howard Stern, David Letterman, Leno, Conan. To be honest, Conan, love Conan. He ain't as funny as he was in 1995. Like I said, it's normal. Let's go look at some photos. Mothers, I see you, and I'm going to call you out on your shit because there's a trend that I've noticed, that I picked up on, that I need to call out and see if any of you have noticed this as well. You see, towards the end of 2025, I had a lot of PTO days that I had to use up. Because like many of you, I hoard my PTO days for the end of the year. Because A, it gives me something to look forward to. And B, if my company fires me, they have to pay me out for those days. So, yeah, I want to keep them. Want to get those free paydays. So, what did I do with all that PTO time that I had in December? Was I productive? No, absolutely not. I wasted my free time on the book. Facebook, that is. But I was very strategic with the profiles on Facebook that I was viewing. I was viewing the profiles of babes I went to high school with, college, post-college, babes from a bygone era of the B-Man. And I was curious to see how Father Time, that is, has treated them. Are they bludgeoned with the ugly stick? Have they gained weight? Have they lost weight? Married? Single? Available? How many kids? How many cousins? I'm very curious. I was curious, and you see one babe, and then okay, well, how about another babe? And before you know it, 3 hours later, it's 1 a.m., and you have those 2 episodes of Verbal Graffiti you were supposed to record, you haven't even started. You haven't even done the prep work for. But I noticed that these moms, and more specifically, moms of toddlers, let's say newborns to 3 to 4 years old, these moms are strategically placing their toddlers in front of their belly to hide their belly fat in the photo so that none of us, the Johns on Facebook, can see how misformed, how disfigured the mom's body is post-childbirth. I know that the moms are doing this intentionally, strategically. Now, is that immoral? No. Is it mischievous? No. But it's woman logic. And I'm calling you out on your shit. You moms who are using your toddlers to hide your belly fat in those photos by strategically placing your toddler in front of your stomach. I know what you're doing. And I'm calling you out for it. And it's not right. I'm not necessarily sure if it's wrong. It's probably more wrong that I'm on Facebook trying to find out what moms are fat and which ones got back to their pre-birth weight. Maybe I'm wrong for doing that, but I'm real. I ain't the only one doing it, and we're all doing it. I'm just saying it how it is. But I just noticed every mom who has a toddler who's overweight or didn't lose that baby weight has their toddler in front of their stomach. Every Christmas photo, there is no exception to the rule. Every single mom who was somewhat skinny pre-childbirth, who is now not skinny, is hiding their weight. Is using their child as a shield from the public, trying to hide their weight. And it was just a funny trend. A devious trend, I should say. A devious trend that I picked up on. All you moms are doing it, and the B-Man is noticing. And I just want to know, all you other Johns, or is anyone else noticing this? All right, you're going to get at me. Well, B-Man, well, you don't know what it's like to give birth. Oh, big deal. So you had a baby. There's 6 billion people on Earth. Giving birth ain't that big of a deal. Honestly, me getting an erection is more impressive than you giving birth. You wouldn't have given birth without the man's penis. Moving forward. This comes from the subreddit Anarchism. Anarchism? Anarchism. Age verification and social media bans. They're restricting younger people's access to certain platforms because they want to cut off communication between the younger generations and the older, more informed audiences. Younger people are easier to manipulate, and by limiting their access, it becomes easier to control what they see and hear. If you remove open communication, you can mislead them, brainwash them, or create you can create a generation of obedient, misinformed individuals. And what exactly counts as inappropriate content to the government? Is it simply people speaking openly or sharing inconvenient truths? There's a huge potential for abuse when one group has that much control. This isn't really about protecting children from harmful content. It's about preventing them from hearing perspectives that encourage critical thinking and reason. Don't think that I haven't noticed that every time I go on the hub, it's now asking me to verify that I'm 18 years of age or older. That's new. That happened in 2025. It used to never happen. And it does irk me. Yeah, clearly. Like, you see what I'm doing on my computer. Like, I'm over 18. But that is happening. The reason why that irks me is not because a porn site is asking me if I'm 18 years of age or older. It irks me because I know that's going to, it's going to spread. All right, it's like a tumor or a cancer. It's going to spread to other parts of the internet, to other sites, to other apps. You're going to have to verify your age, and before you know it, we are all going to have social credit scores. And then if you say something wrong, if you say something no, if you criticize a babe for not losing weight, you're going to get ostracized from the internet. And since we all know the internet and real life are morphing together, if you lose your social credit score, you're literally going to have to live off the grid and go to the Appalachian Trail, learn how to shoot squirrels and eat acorns, because that's the only way you're going to be able to survive. So you do know that once that social credit score, learn how to talk, social credit score is instituted, you're not going to be able to say what you want, because if you say or call something out that the government or the powers that be are doing, they take away your right to live. Because once they put the kibosh on your score, the banks no longer available to you. Credit no longer available to you. Moving from point A to point B, how can you do that without a license? You'll get arrested. So this is happening. We all know this is happening. It's been happening for decades. As many of you know, I'm reading a book on Richard Nixon. And if you know anything about history, and I'm learning now, is that JFK was just as, not I want to say evil, but his politics, his campaigning was just as dirty as Tricky Dick Richard Nixon's was. Now, I didn't know this, but the media had it out for Nixon since his first campaign running for local office in California in the early 1950s or late 1940s. And it's very similar with every presidential race. The media, they choose, this person's candidate is benevolent, this person is Hitler, and they just go with that narrative. When in reality, the media is kind of morphing who they want us to like and who they want us to dislike. When in reality, it's like, well, JFK was just as dirty as Nixon. Hillary was just as dirty as Trump. I don't know, Obama was just as dirty as that. Who was that old crusty guy he ran it? Oh, Mitt Romney. So it's like, yeah, they're all dirty. They're the elites. They're the lizard people, regardless of whatever party or power group. And they're trying to control us. And yeah, but I do kind of disagree with your stance that the older people are the more well-informed among us here in America. I kind of disagree with that. I honestly believe the younger you are, the more intelligent or the more well-informed you are on what's really going on. Because once you're old, once you're an old hag, or once you're married, Or hopefully you're married with kids, all right? You have kids, you have a house, you have a mortgage. That's really all you care about is making that mortgage payment, getting your kids a nice education, a good life. Like that takes up all your energy, your job, your family, your mortgage, just to be staying alive. That's all you care about. But when you're 22, yeah, you can doom scroll on YouTube for hours and find out what shit is really happening. I'm noticing this with my very, very eldest sister, Carrie. Like her kids are now, they're kind of adults. They're college, post-college, like early post-college. So they're past the age where they need to have my oldest sister, like their mom, her, not all her attention has to be given to her kids. So she's starting to pick up on things like, oh, wait a second. Like my daughter went to a better college than her friend, but her friend got a better job than my daughter who went to the more prestigious college. And she started talking about, well, if she went to college for 4 years, but now she can't be the career she wants because she needs a degree, but her friend has a degree in something. You start I'm starting to see it like percolate in her head, and it's like wait till because I think everyone who's like 20, 30 and younger, they realize the system is fucked here in America. Hey, any nice neighborhood, any mediocre neighborhood, you want a regular small 3-bedroom, a bath and a half house. $400,000 on half an acre, $400,000, and everybody's making $25 an hour. How the fuck are you gonna afford a $400,000 mortgage, making $25 an hour? All right, when you graduate college, you don't get a job, so you need to get a graduate degree. And how you save money, that doesn't jibe, right? None of this jibes. The system is fucked. The more money they print, it's extracting wealth that you're saving. They're doing that. You start realizing that you need to make money 3 times over to make whatever the first money it was you made. Like you have your salary, then they tax 50% of it. Or whatever income. Are we really talking about taxes here at Verbal Graffiti? But they with sales tax, all the taxes they take, and property taxes, you're probably paying 50% in taxes. And then every time they print money, they're devaluing your money. So you need to invest your money that you make just to stay even. Because if you keep it all in the bank, it's going to lose its value. So you're forced to invest in real estate and stocks and Bitcoin and any hard metals, speculative. It's impossible to gain wealth unless you have you just have a great inheritance if you're lucky enough to have that. So, but you just start looking at the system. And I think for everybody, it's something different that opens your eyes to go, wait, what? This is not, you see the world. Like for me, I remember I drove in my local town. There was a 4-way intersection and there was a cop there with an SUV, brand new SUV. And it kind of hit me, wait, that SUV is nicer or more expensive than probably 90% of the residents in this town. And then I noticed every other cop in our town had a brand new SUV, and it hit me. It's like, wait, they're supposed to protect and serve, but they're all driving better vehicles than most of the residents they're supposed to protect and serve. And he's like, why do they need a brand new SUV? All right, this is a suburbs. It's not, an inner city or, there's violence, but it's not a crazy crime area. So that hits you like, oh, wait a second, maybe there is an imbalance of power and the money's not going where it should be, right? And then you look back on your history that you learn, like, oh, the Native Americans, they were just these benevolent figures, and they used they kill a buffalo and they use every little piece of that buffalo to survive. And then you realize, as you get older, you realize, oh no, the Native Americans would slaughter just as many people as their white colonizers, and they had slaves. And then you start realizing, oh wait, it's not as black and white. There's a lot of gray in life. That's where the lie is. All right. You're like, oh yeah, just go to get good grades, go to college, and you'll get a great job paying six figures, and you'll be able to afford the life your parents had. And then you do all that, and then you realize, I can't go on 2 vacations a year. I have a house that's smaller than the one my parents had. I got to live with my parents. I can't have as many kids as they had. And then you start realizing, wait, the life they had is not as good as the life I was promised if I did everything right. I'm just rambling, but I'm just saying, oh, another thing I realized was during the jab, COVID, I'm not even sure if you're allowed to say that on YouTube. But I remember being at my nephew's basketball game, and he was in high school at the time, and all the players were wearing a mask while they played basketball. And I'm like, well, that's weird. And then I did some research, went to CDC website, and realized that, oh, no one under the age of 18 died from this virus. I think fewer than 100 people at the time I did the research had died due to COVID under the age of 18. So why are high schoolers not allowed to go to school, and when they play sports have to wear a mask? Like the disease doesn't kill, or the virus doesn't kill them. And then you just little things like that you pick up on. And you're like, it makes you mistrustful of the system, of the powers that be telling you how you should live your life. You know what they all gotta do? Go suck a fat one.